Two Air Red players from Chile, both the DG players from America. So, yeah, those bash of nationalities will come through, but we're starting it out here with is what you said, quarterfinal?
This
Quarterfinal.
is the quarterfinals. Yeah, absolutely. So this is the first round for day three. And once again, it is single elimination, best of seven. So you have to pull four tracks to move on to the next round as we start off here with back and forth.
Yeah, starting off with back and forth again, a map that they've been very, very comfortable on. I'm excited to see, again, they can get out to an early lead. Sometimes there is some of that rust, some of that coldness still sitting in you for the first maybe couple of rounds in a track. But once you get heated up, like you said, if DG at any point during the day today, they start to get heated up, they will not stop. They don't cool down, and it'll be hard to stop that team if they do.
Absolutely. And then we see Nyx right there making a little bit of a mistake. He's actually able to recover it, though.
Ow.
That's actually very impressive. And he's actually already trying to take this third place spot, which he's doing right now.
Mistakes here. Nyx and Raz both are about 2.5 seconds behind the leader of Neil right now as they head into that backwards identity here. And partly, again, Neil still in first place. If they hold out the positions they're holding right now, would be a good start, would be a victory. Neil, a slight little clip right there at the end, but Nixotica actually made, it looks like, another mistake. So it'll actually be just a draw to start out, still even on the scoreboard.
Yep, we're just trying to brush the dust off right now. It is hours in between day one and day two, so the guys got to get warm once again. I know that they were already grinding this morning, trying to get ready for this today. So they just got to kind of get a little bit of the bugs and the chinks out of the armor. But that will not take these boys long. They are really good at warming up and just putting up a phenomenal performance every single time they come and show up.
See that immediately bouncing back here in round number two of this one. Already Raz with a little bit of a slowdown. They're about a second behind of the leader right now. Nyx and Genru kind of sitting right behind Neil, just a little bit, about 3/10 back behind. Genru, though, it also looks like is going to hit a massive clip. Raz also a big crash on the board as well. So possibility for DG if they hold their positioning right now to maybe score out an ace, which would be a big, big set of points to have here only in the second round.
Yeah, this is where you really have that chance to feel comfortable and just take this identity nice and easy. Like, you have a lot of time to play with, but you don't want to take too much time. And right there is what we're looking for. That ace, nice and easy through that identity.
Nice finish. Oh, close. Yep.
Absolutely, man. We are already starting off strong here. Up 4-1 now to Air Red. And I do, once again, really just want to state, that we are not throwing any shade to Air Red at all here. We have absolute respect for all these competitors, as we said before this all took place. Actually, looks like Nyx right there actually gained some air, which you do not want to do on that portion of the track. Any air gained does give you quite a bit of slowdown.
This looked like Raz had a little bit of a crash, though, so they're going to be sitting about 6 seconds behind. It is Genru right now that is kind of battling out with Nyx for this second place position, and right now this is where you got to put the trust in your teammates. Genru, you got to kind of push forward, maybe take a little bit more risks, because you do not want that ace. I mean, if DG gets another ace here, that could be going to map point here, track point, and that is not something you want early. They go into the backwards identity here. Nyx gonna be a little bit behind here, just trying to again get up in there. Oh, a little bit of a touch for Nyx actually. So all ahead of Genru as they can get on forward. They'll finish first and second. Raz again a little bit too far behind to catch up, and it'll still be a victory for DG. Air Red though, again, good to at least take a point off of that one.
No, like, definitely. And that's what you want to do. Like, you really don't want to let Damascus Gaming run away with this if you're Air Red. Like, you're really trying to put some pressure, show some life in this event. You really don't want to start losing tracks to DG, because once they get that momentum started, it is extremely hard to get it back.
That's very, very true. Air Red kind of in need of an ace right here to catch back up. They could use a victory or something else, or a couple more draws. They aren't in they haven't given over track point over just yet, so they are okay for now. It is Raz once again with a little bit of a slowdown, 4 seconds now behind, slightly crashing there, but Neil clean on the turnaround and will once again go into the identity. These three have been just holding the front pack for the majority of this track.
Yep, this is really the point right now where if you're Raz, like you're really communicating to Genru to just get this thing moving as fast as you can. I mean, it's really important to just push this as hard as you can to get that pressure on him. But unfortunately, it looks like Genru is actually going to make a mistake back there, which is going to allow Nyx and Neil to get that ace. That is now 2 aces in the favor of Damascus Gaming. We got 2 cards out of the deck as Raz works to get across the finish line here.
At least getting all players across the finish line. And generally, like you talked about, not too far behind Neil there on the finish, only about 4/10 of a second, but still that leads to an ace. Like you said, now it has to be all aces for Air Red. They cannot allow a single point over to DG, who is now on track point. Again, any player in the top 2 that they get is going to solidify them on this track and in this series already. Like you said, it's been a very consistent map for them. They've been doing a really good job on it, but going down 0-1, not the greatest start Air Red may have wanted.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and once again, if you were watching the stream yesterday, you know that Neil actually put up a PB on back and forth. And it just goes to show, like, the level of confidence that he has to push those aggressive lines. He's really not afraid to do it, which is why, like, Nyx and Neil, they really complement each other very well in how they compete. Nyx is going to be really holding those consistent lines with Neil pushing those more aggressive lines, trying to make really good plays happen. And it's really awesome to watch these two just go through it. And
Yeah.
Llama, I'm thinking another ace is about to happen here, boss. And there it is.
Yep. No
3
mistakes
aces
on that one. They drive through it. They allow that draw to start out and then a victory, and then it's just snowballing out from there. Won that one by 2.5 seconds and a track win there. DG starting off the 7 best of 7 series here with a win. Now, obviously, we're going to be going next over towards Freestyle. Air Red's next pick. So I'm interested to see, how much practice Air Red has put into this map specifically. If they can maybe, get those early points, get a little bit ahead of DG, and maybe put some pressure on them. Because, we've seen, when teams are under pressure, when they're a little bit behind, they're forced to make those maybe inside routes that aren't as safe.
Yeah, definitely. It's just really too where, like, honestly, like if I'm Air Red at this point, I'm putting all of my cards on the table. I'm going all in.
100%.
There is no reason to leave anything not on the track. I mean at this point, just put everything you have into it. Go for those aggressive lines, push as hard as you possibly can to really try to show DG that you're also in this competition and you're not afraid, to play aggressive. That's really, I think, what's going to give these guys a fighting chance in the quarterfinals here.
And I feel like, honestly, DG, I feel like they're like sharks. Like, as soon as they smell blood, as soon as they smell a little bit of non-confidence from the other side, they're like, okay, we'll just take all that. We'll eat up all the points and take the full track. And they feel super comfortable doing that. And that not only boosts their confidence, but, makes it harder on all the other teams that are playing them here today.
It really does. I mean, but then I really have to agree with that statement. I mean, when you watch the play style of both Neil and Nyx, I mean, the moment that they get warm and they sense an opening, I mean, they are immediately just pedal to the floorboard, going for it as hard as they can. You really do not want to give them that advantage because it's really going to cost you, like, just over and over and over again in these competitions.
Very much will. Also, next gen, welcome on in. Better late than never, and good to just join us. But as you join us, this is the first series of the day. Only a 1-0 start as well. Draw also started out. Nyx gonna secure that first place with the 2 members of Air Red. Starting last track like they will this one with another draw time the scoreboard.
This is a very deceiving track as well. When you look at that last identity, and I'm really going to talk about it here as we go into it as a finish up this run. The identity is a lot harder than it lets you believe.
It is.
It is. This is a very, very technical track. And it's really impressive to watch Neil and Nyx be able to throw up really good times consistently on a track that requires this much skill. It is unreal.
Especially, on all tracks, on all track maintenance tracks, you lose focus for one moment, you could slip off the board, but especially this one, like you're talking about that identity, very, very tough here, but a strong pack for this round number 2 here, as it looks like DG, they're leading by just a little bit, but any mistakes here on this identity could cause them to lose some space. Nice and clean through the first one. Neil and Nyx going to be still leading by about a second. Actually, don't know what sliding down there. Okay.
They made so, and that's where I was saying earlier with this identity. So you look at that dirt jump going into the identity. You really have to minimize your air time to build up as much speed as you possibly
Yeah.
can, because that final climb, you have to get just enough traction, have just enough momentum to make it over that final ramp. And it looked like Air Red did not have enough in the tank to make it, which is where it gets really punishing, because getting a reset at that point makes it even more difficult to get through that identity. It is not an easy task.
You got to have that perfect speed to go into it. The good thing for Air Red here, at least that was, not to see an ace towards the other side, but they're at least keeping with the pack. They're keeping consistent here on this track. So if DG does make a mistake, they are going to be there to capitalize on that identity. You can lose a lot of time if you have to respawn, if you have to go back towards that last checkpoint. But once again, DG just a little bit more consistent right now, about 4/10 ahead of Genru, Nyx, and Genru kind of battling out for that second and third. It's going to be, once again, looking clean. Nyx a little bit of a clip, but still very, very good job securing another ace. Genru had a lot of speed going into that, but just couldn't catch up.
Yeah, absolutely good try right there by Air Red. They are really fighting hard to get into this one. But, when we talk about players who are the quality of Neil and Nyx, I mean, it's a massive uphill battle here. I would definitely not want to be in the shoes of Air Red.
And now it's track point. You cannot let another ace slip through the cracks here for Air Red. Again, this is their first map pick, so to go up 2-0 for DG, it would be a nice feeling to start off their quarterfinals matchup. And once again, they're getting out to the lead. Again, it's going to be Genru that will fall down towards fourth place. A little bit of a crash here as they do get a nice perfect flip. Neil and Nyx both looking good on that one. And it's all up to Raz at this point. You got to push forward, put the pedal to the metal, because if you don't, an ace could finish it off right here, right now. Neil and Nyx driving very clean as they will head for one of the final turns into this final dirt jump for the identity. Looking very clean, no clipping, and that'll be an ace to finish off the track.
Whew, what a run to finish off freestyle. That was such a clean run on the identity. That one, man, that's a clip moment right there. That's probably going to go into a montage, not going to lie. That was a very, very clean run by the boys.
Very, very clean, and that
Wow.
means N1. Only a draw, the only blemish on that track for them.
Yeah, I mean, that's once again, it just goes to show, I mean, they are very comfortable in almost every single one of the tracks that they race on for the regionals. They've been grinding hard. I mean, and their matchmaking points just show it. They come into these events, if not at the top, very near to it. And it just goes to show how much they grind day in and day out. This is more than just, 2 days out of the week for them. This is an everyday grind.
It's wake up, play some Trackmania, eat, play some Trackmania, sleep, play some Trackmania, whatever, but get that practice in. And they really, really, like you said, have been consistent at just, being consistent, getting that practice, getting all that under their belt here. As we get into our third map, again, it's going to be the choice of DG. It's going to be Reps, another map that they are very, very much known for here in the Trackmania scene, and they're starting it off very, very good. Again, this is a tough track, but they seem to have just mastered it.
Yeah, they love racing on Reps. There are times on this track is outstanding when you look at the leaderboards. I mean, if you're Air Red right now, this is not a track you want to be facing them on, especially when you're talking about them more than likely going up 3-0 here if they can really maintain their performance. This is just one of those situations right now for Air Red that the line is getting pushed further and further back, and there's not much they can do to stop it at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, you see how close they are as well. 65 thousandths of a second within one another, driving so well, not only individually, but together. So, yeah, starting it off with an ace. And like you said, not a good feeling when, you get beat on your own first map pick and now have to go into what they are known for. That has slipped through the cracks on towards this third pick. And it kind of goes back to our pick of bands. You talk about how hard some of those identities are of, you say Aeropipe, you say Gyroscope, but, Reps has looked so dang clean for DG that it might have to be, you've talked about it. It's been a permanent ban for some teams against DG.
Yeah, teams do not like facing reps. I mean, it's really a risk that you take when you're talking about the pick and ban, because you have to make that decision. Am I going to take away one of their best hands, or am I going to take away a track that I know that I may not be able to complete in the long run? I mean, it's really a lot goes into the pick and ban that you have to really make on the fly. And you'll see that a lot of these teams will discuss it before they even get into competition. You know, hey,
Yeah.
if we face this team, like, what's the pick and ban going to be for us? I mean, it's definitely something that a lot of thought has to go into. I mean, and once again, we're just seeing Neil and Nix. I mean, just putting
Yeah.
up just such good times with another ace right there. I mean, Llama, I mean, I'm just at a loss for words right now. I mean, this is what we want to see, but in the
Yeah.
same regard, like, you just gotta, I mean, say, like, you know, Air Red, like, they're not giving up. They are definitely fighting, but this mountain is just getting taller. This line is just getting pushed back further and further, and it's just, I mean, what more do you say at this point?
I mean, it's tough. I mean, at the same time, too, they're not giving any really opportunities to bounce back. Sometimes they might, have those, certain things that they're not great at, where they might clip at certain points and you can catch back up. But DG is just really not making mistakes here today. And that is just tough to fight against. Only letting, again, 3 points in the last two tracks, while they got over 10 in each of them. So very, very consistent. Again, giving nothing here on this one. It'll be important to see if Genru can have a good round here, because was sitting in second does take a little bit of clip and bounce them back down to third.
It definitely does. And I will say, too, that if you know Nix, he is one of the best dirt racers on the scene. So when you get into a dirt section, if you are ahead of him, he's going to gain on you. If he is ahead of you, that lead is going to be extended more times than not. He is very, very consistent on those dirt sections, which are not
You know.
easy, especially
Oh,
at the speeds we see them taking these sections at.
yeah, but it just goes to show experience. Once again, it's not only knowing the maps, it's knowing how what
Oh,
the terrain is and how it will affect your car. But another ace here for DG, 1 point away from fully sweeping out this track. Track point, they only need a draw to finish it. And Air Red, they gotta find something here. Like you said, the identity's tough. This whole map is tough. Gotta find some sort of mistake, or just push the
oh.
pedal to the floor. You have nothing to lose now. Nix does take a slight clip there, but we'll be kind of in the same kind of race boat as Raz.
And this is really where Nix is going to start to shine here, too. Like I said, coming into this dirt section, you're really going to watch him start to
Yeah.
gain some speed here a little bit as he comes around. I mean, and once again, like, look at that, like, gaining up on Genru in a dirt section,
Ooh.
which is not easy on the easiest of tracks.
It is a tough terrain to deal with. That is 100% for sure. And DG, they are looking strong once again, looking to finish off this track number 3 in their favor. Get on to series point here after they get up 3-0, but they only need 1 point to do so. As a reminder, it is Genru got to get out in front. I mean, Raz, they need a mistake. They need something now, because once again, DG just too strong and too
Oh,
consistent throughout it. Knicks can even slow down. It doesn't even matter. They will still get the points required. DG, they're going to be moving to
yeah.
3-0 as Knicks is going to play around in the snow.
Yep. I mean, that's, you know, unfortunately a little bit too little too late to get a point on the board. That draw was all that was needed to get that 10 for Damascus Gaming as we go into what can potentially be the end of the series against Air Red. Llama, I mean, I'm just at this point, I'm at a loss here, boss. Like, I just don't really know what Air Red can do. Like, this mountain at this point just seems like Everest is just insurmountable to climb at this point.
Yeah,
I just don't know
it's a
what to
tough one.
say.
Good news is for Air Red, at least it will be their map choice. So hopefully it's something they are a little bit comfortable on. We're getting slippy around here on the slides for map number 4. DG, though, again, they've been looking strong, very, very consistent. And again, no map is a new thing to them. They have so much practice on all of them that even a map pick for the other side could go their way. We'll see how it goes here in track number 4.
Definitely. This is also a very technical track, and you are going to see that as they come into this identity. There's actually a very interesting thing that I'll bring up here in a little bit, but we are really just seeing Neil and Nix right now just really holding that first and second place very consistently and very confidently.
Very, very true here. Going over towards it though. Nick still holding down a lead again. Neil able
Oh,
to catch back up once more as Raz taking a little bit down, but Genru this time actually going forward as both the DG players going to fall a little bit behind here. So the time is a little bit dire now. About 2 seconds separates them from the front of the pack as they'll try and finish out this Slippy Slides identity here. A nice turnaround here from Nyx. Doesn't waste any time with any clipping or any slowdown here, but we'll see how they finish it out. If they can catch back up, any mistakes on the other side could be punished, but I don't think there's going to be Raz and Genru. They're looking clean.
100%. So this is the identity right here. It's why it's called Slip and Slides, and it is an absolute monster to get through. This is actually technically a glitch in the game that has been exploited to make this identity. It is called a bug slide. And we actually see Air Red, actually, I mean, like you said, pulling off their first ace here. But this track is very, very technical. I'm very curious to see, how Neil and Nyx are going to take this one. This track, I don't even think I could finish this one, Llama. I'm going to be absolutely transparent
No.
with you. This track would be too much for the Moodles to surpass.
I don't think I can do it either. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, for Air Red, this feels really good. They have been struggling on those first 3 maps. They are finally finding some traction here on their own map pick. And this is a big one. We talked about you cannot drop any more tracks. It is single elimination at this point in the bracket. So, it needs to be good driving from them. They're going to start out this round 2 a little bit further behind instead of in front of the pack. But we'll see if DG can deal with those technical, things that are coming up here towards the end.
I apologize, everybody watching right now. I always hold my breath as they come into these slides here because it is the smallest mistake is what it takes to just completely throw you off the track as they come into the bug slide.
Ooh.
Let's see what they got here. If they can maintain this good turns, and it looks like they can. That is exactly how Slippy Slides is supposed to be run right there. And I already gave Llama the heads up. There's going to be multiple parts during the day's competition that I am going to be holding my breath. I believe the ambulance is already sitting outside of my house with the defib ready to go.
That's okay.
Nothing gets me more amped up than watching Damascus Gaming in Trackmania.
Yeah, they hyping us up, and they are also tying up this matchup with that counter ace here. All tied up at 3, so Air Red, hopefully they can, keep with it here. Raz, not how you want to start out this next round with a big crash already about 7 seconds, 10 seconds back now. A lot of time to catch back up when it needs some huge mistakes. And now Neil, a slight clip there, will lose some time, and it's got to be up to Jenner. At this point, you got to get ahead of both. You really want to draw. That's the best scenario you can probably get out of this. Get more towards this, end of Slippy Slides. Like you said, it gets harder and harder with those turns, but Neil and Nyx, they've been looking pretty clean on them throughout the day. Through the first turn here, it'll look absolutely beautiful. Nyx about a second ahead of Neil, but still a 1.5 second buffer here as they'll get some more water on their tires. First slide looking very good as well. Second looking clean, and Neil and Nyx looks like they'll finish out this third round with an ace.
It's also really good to see Neil finally having really conquered this identity. If you actually remember in the first regionals, Neil was definitely struggling on this identity more than once, but he was able to fight through it as best he could. But you really see that the practice and dedication he's put into mastering that identity has really paid off here. He is not having any issues with it right now. Knock on wood, of course, but it's really good to see it.
Very, very good to see. The practice just improving on specific things, especially such a hard turn like you talked about. Oh, Neil going to fly up in the air. Make sure probably stick that respawn. So Nyx will be the sole DG member at the front of the pack, though. Air Red has been a little bit slow through the middle part of the map, so Neil maybe could catch a little bit back up, but gonna be 11 seconds behind, so will be a while back. Nyx, though, still holding out the lead. That's the important thing now for DG. If at most you can take a draw away, that could still be, a decent 1-1 scenario. If you at least get 1 point on this round, you're putting yourself on track point. Again, only that ace towards Air Red. The double counter ace from DG was there to follow. So Nick still holding out about a 1.2-second lead. Neil going to be again a while back to try and catch back up. Before now, Nick's is looking like, at least we can draw up this draw.
Exactly, and that's really what he's fighting for right now. If he can just maintain this identity here, which he has a perfect line, so the draw is going to happen here. As we see Neil working his way up the track. He's not too concerned about it at this point because he knows that the draw has been guaranteed.
Secured that 1 point for themselves, and another ace will do it here for the DG squad. So we'll see. Not going at least 4 rounds. We're going a little bit further. And for Air Red, this could be your point to get back in. Off of that draw,
Definitely.
you get another ace here. You're at 7. You're right there with DG. So I want to see them have a... Oh, and Neil can actually crash up here. So again, good opportunity for Air Red to get back in.
Yeah, we're going to have to see here if Neil can pull this back together right now. He's 6. The time is growing a little bit here. He's actually still no, yep, right there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, looks like this is really up to Nyx right now to really get up here in front of these players and prevent the ace from happening.
No, Nyx drives consistent.
This is a really good opportunity right now for Air Red to really show some life and try to get into Neil Nyx's heads if it's possible.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Again, like you talked about, Nyx, very, very good at all terrains. Takes a nice line here. Going to catch back up to that second place here, Air Red. They need to hold on. Nyx going to be racing very, very heavily as they get into these final 2 turns. It's a little bit of a slowdown, so Genru has a little bit of a boost here. They'll go into the final one. Genru should be first without a crash. Nyx almost clipping there, but finds the inside line.
That is absolutely insane. This is why this identity is so punishing. Unfortunately, that mistake is going to cost Air Red. They had what looked like almost a guaranteed ace right there. That simple mistake on the identity is just multiplied upon when you look at how the identity works. The bug slide is not something you can mess up without it punishing you. And we just saw it right there.
And good for Nyx to hold on to that one. Very, very close to clipping, but holding that nice, consistent inside line. And, that's like you said, the worst scenario that could have happened for Air Red there. They were banking on a guaranteed ace, but now going into this one, DG even further in towards match point. Either a victory, an ace will end out this track. And not only that, again, they're still up 3-0 on overall track score in the series. So they get this win, they're going to be over with the series, and with a single elimination, Air Red, they'd be knocked out.
Yeah, I mean, this is really do or die right now for Air Red. And I do also want to bring up the fact, with that last run, it's also why mental game is so important in this. No matter how far you get knocked back, you're never out until the timer goes to 0. You want to keep pushing that forward, because if Nyx had made that decision to just drop back and let them take it, he would have lost the ability to get up in first place. And that's going to be it.
Crash. Yeah. I thought Raz was going to be able to secure it back, but DG, they are going to win out that track, and that means they will take a win on the entire series 4-0. Now, that Slippy Slides was the closest matchup between the two, so Air Red at least able to pull some points back towards themselves. Not overall too bad, but it's like you said, and I think as well, Nyx just driving super consistent, making up those slight tenths of a second on any of those turns, put just more pressure on Air Red. The further and further, like, oh, all of a sudden, okay, we're fine. Nyx is behind us. We're in first second. Oh no.
Yep.
Okay, Nyx is now in second. Oh no, Nyx is now a tenth of a second behind us. Like,
it's definitely. I mean, I just. In a way, like, you got to feel for Air Red. I mean, you go into that just understanding the fact that you're already facing. I mean, as was stated, and I will say this in the first regionals, the official Trackmania casters even said, like, Damascus Gaming literally is a feared team going into this thing, and knowing that they're on your tail, knowing that they're putting that pressure on you, I mean, what are you gonna do? Like I said, I would never, if I was competing in Trackmania, I would never want to see Damascus Gaming in my bracket, because I just know at some point my timer's coming up. We're gonna face them. This is really what it comes down to.